Why does every single multi-celled animal have the ability to get cancer? It's like because that's that original programming. So it's like this makes total sense. If it's all genetic, like we used to think, then yeah, it's just bad luck. But if it's environmental, now you need to figure out what in the environment is causing so you can reverse it.
Meet Dr. Jason Fung, a renowned metabolic health and longevity expert with a profound background in nutrition, fasting, and chronic disease prevention. As a pioneer in natural health strategies, Dr. Fung has helped countless individuals take control of their health and reduce their risk of chronic illnesses through evidence-based lifestyle changes. Dr. Fung emphasizes that while genetic mutations play a role, there is a hidden yet powerful factor that fuels cancer growth. One that is often overlooked. In today's video, we'll uncover Dr. Fung's insights into this single driver of cancer growth and how understanding its impact can help us take control of our health. Not only that, we will also discuss practical ways to counteract its effects and reduce the risk of cancer development. Before revealing this key factor, let's first understand why identifying hidden cancer triggers is essential for prevention. Cancer is a complex disease that arises when normal cells begin to grow uncontrollably, forming tumors that can invade surrounding tissues and spread throughout the body. While many focus solely on genetic mutations, cancer can also be driven by metabolic dysfunction, chronic inflammation, and hormonal imbalances. Research has shown that if our body goes through abnormal changes for longer periods, chronic diseases like cancer can grow in our bodies. However, by making mindful lifestyle adjustments, we can improve our body's resilience against chronic diseases. But before we continue, this content is provided for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider with any questions about your health or a medical condition. Now that we have understood the importance of a balanced environment in our body, let's unveil the one thing that can fuel cancer growth in our body and understand how addressing it can be a powerful step toward a healthier, cancer-resistant life. As per Dr. Jason Fung, one critical factor that promotes cancer is excess insulin. Hyperinsulinemia. Insulin is a hormone produced by the pancreas that helps regulate blood sugar levels by facilitating the uptake of glucose into cells. Beyond this, insulin also plays a role in promoting cell growth and division. It does so through a signaling pathway known as the insulin-like growth factor pathway. When insulin binds to its receptor on the cell surface, it activates a flow of signals that encourage cell survival and proliferation. In cases of hyperinsulinemia, where insulin levels are elevated, this signaling pathway is consistently activated, which can lead to uncontrolled cell growth. Dr. Fung's insights reveal that hyperinsulinemia is not just a metabolic issue, it's a key driver in cancer development.
Insulin resistance is the underlying cause of type 2 diabetes and linked to many chronic diseases like heart disease, strokes, and cancer.
At the core of this issue is insulin resistance. When the body becomes resistant to insulin, it compensates by producing higher levels of the hormone. While insulin is essential for regulating blood sugar, excess amounts act as a growth signal for cells, including cancerous ones. This constant stimulation can encourage uncontrolled cell division, allowing cancer cells to thrive and multiply. High insulin levels have been directly linked to the growth of tumors in several cancers, including breast and colon cancer. But the problem doesn't end there. High insulin levels are often accompanied by metabolic dysfunction and obesity, both of which are risk factors for cancer. They create a perfect storm for cancer to develop and spread. Obesity alone increases cancer risk, but it's the insulin-driven cycle that accelerates the process. Research and evidence. While the connection between insulin resistance and cancer might sound alarming, it's not just a speculation. There's significant scientific evidence supporting the role of insulin in cancer development. Research consistently shows that individuals with insulin resistance, or type 2 diabetes, have an increased risk of developing several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and liver cancer.
breast cancer cells. In a disease that is very sensitive to insulin, right, because you have so many insulin receptors on that breast cancer cell, if you have hyperinsulinemia, you're just going to be feeding that growth of the breast cancer cells more than you're feeding the growth of the normal cell. So therefore, you're going to favor growth in that situation, and therefore diseases of hyperinsulinemia, that is obesity, type 2 diabetes, are well known to be associated with breast cancer.
Moreover, several studies have revealed that insulin resistance can significantly increase the risk of developing cancer. People who are obese or have metabolic syndrome are twice as likely to develop cancer as those with normal insulin sensitivity. This is because the higher the insulin levels in the body, the more likely it is that cancer cells will have the environment they need to grow and spread. But it's not just about having insulin resistance. It's the chronic inflammation that comes with it. High insulin levels trigger inflammatory responses that can damage cells and create the perfect environment for cancerous growth. This vicious cycle of high insulin and chronic inflammation is what makes cancer such a challenging disease to fight and underscores the importance of addressing metabolic health early on, long before cancer ever takes root. But before we move on, if you are looking to dive deeper into the top drinks to kill cancer and reduce inflammation, be sure to subscribe to the QuickTime newsletter linked below. Each week, we share expert-backed tips, delicious recipes, and actionable steps to help you live longer and feel your best delivered right to your inbox. Science behind insulin and cancer. As we've seen, high levels of insulin are not only bad for our waistlines, but they can be a direct trigger for cancer. But how exactly? Insulin plays a role in normal cell growth, but when it's constantly elevated, it becomes a key factor in fueling cancer cells. Dr. Fung emphasizes that insulin is a growth factor, which means that when it's out of balance, it creates the perfect storm for cancer to develop. But here's where things get more alarming. Cancer cells have more insulin receptors than normal cells. This makes them extra sensitive to insulin's growth-promoting effects. When insulin levels rise, cancer cells take full advantage of this and use it as fuel to grow faster and divide more rapidly. They hijack the insulin signals to accelerate their growth, forming tumors at a much faster rate than normal cells.
But it wasn't just that. It was the sort of hyperinsulinemia that you get along with obesity that seemed to be important, because even if you look at people that are normal weight, those with a very high insulin level tended to get cancer much more than those with low. That's at the same body weight. And diseases like type 2 diabetes, where you also have very high levels of insulin, are also associated with increased risk of cancer.
Hyperinsulinemia is often seen in individuals with metabolic disorders such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome, all of which are associated with an increased risk of cancer. High levels of insulin promote fat storage and may also lead to increased levels of circulating free fatty acids. These fatty acids can fuel the growth of cancer cells. Moreover, the metabolic dysregulation caused by hyperinsulinemia can affect the balance of other hormones and signaling pathways, including those involved in regulating cell growth, apoptosis, and angiogenesis. And even more, insulin not only encourages the growth of cancer cells, it also promotes tumor progression and metastasis. High insulin levels contribute to chronic inflammation, another key factor in cancer growth. This inflammation exacerbates the problem by creating an environment where cancer cells can thrive, divide uncontrollably, and spread to other parts of the body. Dr. Fung's research confirms that the constant cycle of insulin resistance creates conditions for cancer cells to thrive. Insulin's role in fueling cancer doesn't stop there. It not only encourages rapid growth in cancer cells, but it also helps tumors form new blood vessels through a process called angiogenesis. These new blood vessels supply tumors with the nutrients and oxygen they need to survive and grow. This process is essential for tumor survival and expansion, and insulin plays a critical role in making it happen. In essence, high insulin levels create the perfect conditions for cancer to thrive. Finally, hyperinsulinemia can influence the balance of other hormones involved in cancer development. For example, elevated insulin levels can increase the production of estrogen, a hormone that has been implicated in the development of cancers such as breast and endometrial cancer. Insulin may also interact with other growth factors like epidermal growth factor, contributing to the proliferation and survival of cancerous cells. Strategies to control insulin. Now that we have understood the critical role insulin plays in fueling cancer, it's time to talk about what we can do about it. The good news is that, unlike genetic mutations, we have control over our insulin levels. By making simple lifestyle changes, we can significantly lower our insulin levels and reduce our risk of cancer. Let's explore some of Dr. Fung's top strategies. One of the most powerful tools for controlling insulin is intermittent fasting. By restricting your eating window, you allow your body time to rest and reset. Dr. Fung advocates for time-restricted eating, like an 8-hour eating window followed by a 16-hour fast. During this fasting period, insulin levels drop significantly, preventing the constant insulin spikes that can fuel cancer cell growth. Research shows that intermittent fasting improves insulin sensitivity, helping the body manage blood sugar more effectively, which is essential in reducing cancer risk.
At risk of cancer, at risk of heart disease, at risk of strokes, at risk of blindness, at risk of kidney disease, nerve damage, infections. All these people you can fix just by changing their diet, either cutting down their carbohydrates or using intermittent fasting. And it's free, and anybody can do it.
What you eat plays a significant role in controlling insulin levels. A diet high in sugar and refined carbs causes insulin spikes and encourages insulin resistance, a key factor in cancer development. Dr. Fung recommends adopting a low-carb, whole food diet that prioritizes healthy fats, lean proteins, and fiber-rich vegetables. This type of diet helps stabilize insulin levels and reduces the need for frequent insulin production. Avoid processed foods, sugary snacks, and refined carbs to keep insulin levels in check and reduce the chances of insulin resistance, which can lead to various cancers. Regular physical activity is another key strategy for improving insulin sensitivity. Exercise helps the body utilize insulin more efficiently, lowering blood sugar levels and reducing insulin resistance. Even moderate activities like walking or cycling can have a profound effect on insulin control. Not only does exercise improve overall health, but it also supports cancer prevention by keeping insulin levels balanced and preventing the chronic, elevated insulin that is linked to cancer growth. Finally, chronic stress and poor sleep are often overlooked factors in insulin resistance. High levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, can elevate insulin resistance and increase the risk of cancer. By managing stress through mindfulness practices, deep breathing, or meditation, and ensuring you get enough restful sleep, you can improve insulin sensitivity and lower the risk of cancer. Focus on stress-reducing activities and aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night to support healthy insulin levels. By incorporating these strategies into our lives, we can lower insulin levels, reduce chronic inflammation, and create an environment that's less favorable for cancer to develop. The science is clear. Addressing insulin imbalance is crucial for preventing cancer and improving our overall health. So, that is all for how hyperinsulinemia is directly linked to cancer. But even by making correct lifestyle changes, you may have something missing from your diet that can provide additional support to your body against cancer. Maybe your daily snacks could play an important role in avoiding this chronic disease. So, join us in the next video to uncover the 5 healthy snacks that will help your body fight cancer naturally.